Okay, update. I am down here with the EXB Carnage. Yeah. So, triangulation. Yeah, I might have to use something like this to achieve the flex in those arms that I actually want. Because, yeah, I can see that this one is slightly bent too, and no, I'm not dealing with that. So, jump. As for the shock, yeah, I managed to get it off. And it is a actual M8, which is huge. I mean, I expected it to be pretty big, but M8, my God. I mean, these boys are M8s. Well, the shaft is 10 millimeters, obviously. Let's get out the caliper. Okay, shot. Yep, 10. But the thread is a M8, which is great because I measured the rod end. Okay, don't stop falling now. And it is right around 41 and a half, which is actually awesome because the M8 hem jointed steel rod end is 48. It's right at 48. Let's go to 48. Go to 48. Okay. I love these things, but they suck. Okay, so that's 40 enough. 48. So it has that much longer, which is about 6.5 to right around 6.5 to 7-ish. No, 7.5. So 7.5 millimeters longer than this thing. That is not that much longer at all. So I might not have to limit the shock on the inside for the rears or the fronts, and then to still bottom out, because there's a lot more space for the shock to go. Man, because I found it in this thing, this huge ass shock. Yeah, as you can see, there is a big difference between this shock and that one. Yeah, but it's about 14. Well, actually, this one is limited. Both of them are limited. It's about let's see, 20 some odd centimeter difference between these shots, and these don't bind either. So, and this one has the same back and the same butt as this one. So, and since it won't bottom out, obviously, we're golden. So I'll get the M8s for this and replace this junk. But the M8 is 12 millimeters wide, which will obviously fit in there pretty good in this thing, because this is what, oh my god, freaking 12 millimeters wide. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, it's the rod end is 12 millimeters wide, so it's going in there perfectly. Absolute prismatic fit. So great. But it's an M8 and the hole is an M4. So, oh no, it's not gonna work. It's M8. Yeah. So there is a couple of options for that. You can try to find a bushing that'll fit, but most of the bushings in that rim are centered, and you do not want to use centered for anything. X-Max. Yeah, no center for me. So another option is to get a brass tube, like the, I don't know, like the HVAC brass tubing, the really thick kind with the 2mm the 2mm walls, and get a 8mm version of that. So if it's 8mm, the walls is 2mm thick, it is going to have a ID of 4mm. Perfect. And I can get that in like foot lengths and just cut it down the size with my handy dandy pipe cutter. End of story. So that solves that mess. And that actually might be the best damn thing for these shocks, because this ain't breaking. I mean, it is just that simple. I mean, seriously. 8mm. That is insane. I thought it was 6, but it's 8. Good grief. I mean, these shocks are just so damn beefy. It's not even right. And of course, its weakness would be the damn end, just like everything else. But just like everything else, you can think stuff through. So I'll figure out the triangulation even if it's needed. I mean, I was thinking about the M8s for these ends, because this right here is 100. The turnbuckle is 108mm wide, so it stops and it's threaded all the way through, and you can actually see where it stops. It stops about right here. So you got 48mm of distance to work with from here to how much that's going to be threaded. So those M8s might actually work for this. And guess how long that is too. This little section. That's 12mm. Oh God, I mean, you really, really can't make this shit up. So those steel rod ends might actually work for this, but I would have to find the females, I mean the left and the right females, and so far I'm only finding the right. So painful. I'll find some left sooner or later and see if it works for this, because that will shore up. That will make this rig like nearly indestructible in the back. And another thing is that the screws that I use for the back to mount the wing mount to the diff are huge long suckers that go all the way through the diff case. Because yeah, usually when your diff case breaks, it's the screws that will pop out first. So if you drill the hole all the way through, those screws really don't have a chance of popping out. So you can land on this from all up the butt if you want to. I think I was about 15 feet in the air and came down right on the damn thing. And yeah, with this and that stupid bash bar, wow, I was loving this setup. But obviously, setups that you never taken out before always is going to have a weak link. Okay, I'm done. No more puns. Okay, Willy bar 1, EXB 1, shock 0. But shaft, I mean, if the weakness is the end, the weakness on all the shocks is going to be the end. This ain't bending, this ain't breaking. Put a steel rod in on it and call it a day. So I will go that direction and wait for all the stupid mess to come, because I didn't order it already. And yeah, maybe I'll figure out just what I want to do with this thing. If I go with the with the good old flexible triangulation, or I might just delete it. But I don't know, it looks freaking awesome. And it does help keep this from flexing, because without that there, it flexes a heck of a lot more. I mean, a heck of a lot more RPM. But that arm is not breaking unless your shock shut up. You know, I do have a problem with S's. Unless your shock shut up. I did it again. Unless your shock setup, wow, is terrible. And this thing was landing so plush with these tires. I love these tires, I swear to God. They balloon like hell, and they land like you want your car on pillows. Proline, these are the best tires you ever made. Period. The best. Of course, the bead locks. I mean, when you're talking about bead locks, I mean, them things got like 20 screws for each side of the wheel. So each wheel has 40 screws. The bead isn't going anywhere at all. All the power of this thing was pushing out all the little 4 or 5 foot backflips I was doing with all the rotation of the trigger finger that I could pull, and the wheel stayed on the rim. If that doesn't say anything for this setup, nothing does. But yes, I will leave it at that and get all the parts I needed to fix this thing in the first place. And yeah, I actually did want to do all that anyway, but I didn't. So it is what it is. Sometimes you do have to take baby steps with new setups just to see if there's actual weaknesses in that setup. I did it for the other Kraton, and I'm definitely going to do it with this. Because it's an EXB, it's supposed to be the best basher ever, and all that other bull crap. Yeah, it has the same flaws as the RTR. And then some, because the chassis needed help too. So I will leave it alone and keep on rolling with the sucker.